So more Fringe RC here for people that just really don't care. Take a 2.2 Sportsman crawler chassis and graft it onto a new bright scale body. And make something fun to play with shafts so it looks more scale. We'll have that nice shaft drive thing going on, so it'll be like, oh yeah, cool, it's like a real car. But still totally illegal to go to good to goes or scale crawling events because it's a comp crawler, unless you want to comp with it. Who wants to comp with something with a giant plastic body on it? I don't know, that wouldn't really make sense either. So it's totally Fringe, which is what I love. This little project working on here with my son. This was the toy New Bright chassis. The tiny little wheels. Here's the big gobber. I'm going to cannibalize this thing. So we got these big knobs here. Putting some big knobs on this. Vroom vroom. Should be fun. Stay tuned. Mess around with the parts that I have. I don't have everything I need, but I have a lot of pretty cool stuff that worked out. Vanquish front plate here where I can mount my servo. I'm going to center mount it. That'll let it get the most articulation, you know. Like a true pervert, I got my RS10 shocks on here. So I haven't really got the shocks properly mounted yet. I just have them on there with some jam nuts just to, you know, see how it looks. See if I get any kind of ability to go in and articulate like I'd like. Pretty cool. If there was no servo, this would be the money right here. This would be perfect. Shocks are bottomed out, plate hits it, but hey, gotta get a servo involved over here somehow. So there's clearly not enough room for that. If you put the servo there like that, you can see if I went all the way down, I'm going to hit it. But you know, I'm not too worried about this kind of stuff. It's the twisting. And the twisting to either side, I think that and a little more, maybe a little more clearance. Maybe trim some stuff, I don't know, melt some stuff, heat some stuff, bend some stuff. But so far, I'm really surprised at just how simple it was to do this and how it's working out. It's actually not half bad. You can kind of see where my axle line is. So if this is the center, you can kind of get an idea of how that works out. The tire's going to be really pretty much perfect, I hope. Should have clearance around the body to do some steering. Don't know. As far as the MIP drive shaft length, it looks like it's going to work. Okay, so here's the output. Just fell apart on me. Sorry about that. Now I get to fumble around. Alright, so you can't really be this short except when it's like fully compressed. But I can put that part over the output shaft. And you can see it's going to be super tight. Because you got to include the the ball and the cup and everything. So it's going to be really, really tight. Not sure. Might have should have better had the dig side so I could have a long side and a short side, but near this will be no problem back here, but up here very tight. I could push this whole thing out more, you know, I could just put longer uppers and longer lowers. And then I wouldn't have to worry about the servo at all because the servo would be sticking out here, but then I just don't think it would look as much like a vehicle. Right now I'm thinking that the axle is lining up pretty much where you would expect it to be for this sort of vehicle. So I'm trying to sort of keep everything proportional. You can see how long, like these are the stock AX10 length type lengths, and you can see how much shorter I am. So much shorter, man. On the back, you know, if you wanted to have the wheels way hanging out the back, I guess you could. No big deal. I think this is going to be kind of a short wheelbase vehicle, and it's going to be narrow, which will make it really fun to play with, because it'll want to tip over all the time, just like a real car. Vroom, vroom. But anyway, of course, all sorts of things can change. Everything can change. It's got potential. Could be fun. Could be very fun. Managing the back tire like that. I'm going to jack up the front a little bit there. Front tire like something like, get over there, you. Yeah. Now we're talking. Something like that would look really fun, wouldn't it? It's like my AX10 Twin Hammers Yeti thing. Not exactly, not really. Not very high tech, is it? Got my CNC. I got my CNC out, and it's a mess. Well, things never turn out quite the way I think, but because I've never built a shafty and I've never really messed with how it's supposed to be set up and all that. It's a lot more to it. Driveline alignment and all that good stuff. But this is what I've come up with so far. I've got to do the rear shock still, so I got to pull the seats and cut a hole, drill a hole, so I can get to my shock mount. In the front, this is the deal here. I think that I have the option here of putting some spacers on the servo so that I clear the roll bar altogether, or I could nip this part of the roll bar and leave this part, and then it would just move up and down around it. The front shocks are mounted, the back ones are not. So that's where they bottom out, right there, which I think is kind of cool. That all worked out. But it's gonna definitely ride pretty darn high when you think that, you know, with the wheels, it's got to be at least this high. So this is no low to the ground vehicle at this point anyway. But I did manage to conglomerate everything out of stuff that I just had lying around. This is all the stuff I had lying around. All these different axial link parts and ends, and you just put a short one here and a long one there and a bent one here and a straight one there, and eventually, sooner or later, you get all the right lengths. It's crazy. This is from the XR10. This is from an AX10, AX10, two different AX10s actually. Crazy. So, only thing I'm a little concerned about is just that in the front, because I wanted to keep the wheelbase pretty short, you can see I'm really, when I'm full up, I am slamming the drive shaft closed, which I don't really like. On the back, let me get the shocks out of the way. As far as it can go down, still have that little gap, which is nice. I think that's good. So, not really sure what to do about that. One thing I could do is I could like put a couple of nuts or a couple of nuts there and there just to space this out just a little more, and that would give me that little bit of space. I don't really want to clock it anymore. It's pretty clocked. You know, then you're gonna start getting some weird steering pretty soon if you go any more than that. So, but the drive lines, if you look at them when they're in their sort of what I would consider probably running position, they're really nicely aligned. Yeah, you can see it does have quite a bit of clocking. I'm thinking maybe just a couple of nuts there, just give that like another millimeter each, and I think that might dial that in a little bit. But yeah, it's been a fun project. It kept me busy all day. Not your average AX10 rock crawler. And that's not your average XR10 rock crawler. I'm doing it, man. I wanted to get some shafty action going here, so here you have it. It's crazy.